climate change is affecting oyster farmers. And an oyster farmer, Adrian the oyster farmer, is going to sail his boat down shortly, and he'll have a sign on there, "Time's Up Labour." And that was the motto, the call at our last event, just like this one, mid-last year. Keep an eye out for Adrian, and we'll give him a shout out and a clap when he comes past. I'm coordinator of 350 Eurobodalla. And on the banks of the Bundu River, the beautiful river behind us, we acknowledge that we're on the country of the Walbunja people of the Yuin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. The Walbunja people were among the first people of Australia. The first people gave this place its first law. Law which cares for country in a deep way. The second law, our law, does not care anywhere near enough for country. We're here to fix that. I'm also an ALP branch member, but I'm disappointed and dismayed. Collectively, we voted Labor up in the 2022 climate election. But federal Labor Cabinet have let us down in this term. Despite good policies on new vehicle emissions, good progress in decarbonising the grid, our environment laws still need fixing. Climate is part of environment. We're focusing on that today. There's climate chaos everywhere. Most lately, a really scary bit of air turbulence in Southeast Asia. Better environment laws are needed to fix that, look after our environment here, and do our bit to ensure the rest of the world doesn't suffer more climate chaos than the absolute minimum. We look to Labor to fix our environment laws, at least in the next term, if not before. What we're looking for is that every new fossil fuel project must be judged on whether it will increase emissions here or overseas. It's not enough to have projects assessed under the safeguards mechanism, because that just considers domestic emissions. The Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act needs updating so that it factors in the emissions from coal and gas and oil extracted here wherever it is burned. Labor has failed to make this no-brainer change so far. Labor's also failed to read the climate and, I think, the electorate with its brand new future gas strategy. Under the guise of new gas wells being needed to transition Australia to net zero, it's really a ruse to be the last gas exporting nation standing. The future gas strategy is just what the gas exporters wanted. We can only read the strategy as a desperate plan to maintain Australia's dominance in gas exports. Could you turn around and give oyster farmer Adrian a shout out? Clap. G'day Adrian. Good on you, mate.
Overcome. And while we feel completely betrayed and let down by Labor, the Liberals are even worse. They're just pretending that nuclear will eventually be useful for Australia to go to net zero. And of course their desire there is that we just keep burning coal until 10 or 15 years, or maybe never, there's nuclear. A lot of this gas is driven by Woodside, a West Australian company that has massive gas fields and wants a lot more in WA. And I think of WA as Woodside Australia, not Western Australia, because they really dominate that state and its politics. But at the same time in Western Australia, the Jarrah forests are dying. These are ancient forests in the southwest corner of WA, and the change in the climate there is killing these forests. And the big parties, so they've sold us out. The Liberals have sold out their backers in business because all of the businesses, apart from the fossil businesses, are going to get smashed by climate chaos. And the Labor have sold out the workers because it's working people that are going to cop this, and working people who live in vulnerable places like along the river at Lismore, and who live in places where they can't afford the rising costs of insurance from climate chaos. But the independents, the Greens and Teals have stood up in federal parliament, and they're the future for Australia. And we're in the fight of our lives with this. We just cannot let this go ahead. We can't let them continue to make it all worse. We've had months of smoke and fire 4 years ago, and our ocean, which looks much the same as before, is in fact getting hotter, affecting the marine life to their detriment, and it's also getting more acidic from the carbon dioxide that's dissolved into the water and makes that change. So our aim is to do two things. It's to fix the climate laws and to stop any more coal and gas.
Thank you so much for letting me have just a moment. I really wanted to just take a second and just share. I'm part of Doctors for the Environment. We're a group that has been working really, really hard to make it people aware that this is actually a huge health issue. So I just wanted to take a moment and read a letter that we have put together to the government. And this will be making its rounds in the newspapers shortly, so you're the first to hear it. Coal, oil and gas are health hazards. To the Australian Government, coal, oil and gas are hazardous to our health and well-being. They are the primary drivers of climate change, which is recognised as the single biggest health facing humanity by the World Health Organization. They cause hazardous air pollution, increasing the rates of asthma, heart disease, cancer, learning delays and poor pregnancy outcomes. We have seen that as a result of the Black Summer bushfires here. To protect the health of the Australian people, we, the undersigned health professionals, call on our government to ban all new coal, oil and gas projects. We must put the health of people ahead of the interests of the fossil fuel industry. Yours sincerely. And hopefully we will see many doctors sign this letter. So I am the first. So thank you so much for this moment to share that message. And I hope that it's starting to become, really widespread knowledge amongst everybody today that fossil fuels are a health hazard. Thank you.
Alright, here they come. And they go, yay! Go guys! Goes right along with our message.
Well, they've done it now, so. Yes, yeah, I'm with you.